Hello and welcome to the Aaron Roussos podcast. Today's episode, albeit quite a short one, hopefully, fingers crossed everyone, it's titled, How Can Everyone Be Right? And it comes from, a couple of times a year, and next year even less, I check in on different social media platforms and see what is being advertised and rammed down your throat and forced upon you. And we have all these different diets. I'm just using diets as an example, but primal, ancestral, keto, carnivore, vegan, all the different ones that are all out there, and they're all and each one of these people, when people get on and I'm talking about hundreds, and in some instances, depending on the engagement, thousands of people say that they're wrong, they get on and then defend that wrongness. Now, how can all of these people be right? How can every one of them be right? And I guess the same way that I understand humans probably better than most people on the planet, because holistically, but also with what I've been able to achieve, its results, it's evidence-based, it's fact, it's core truth. You can't change what I've been able to find and then test and then prove beyond a reasonable doubt. And that is that human beings, there's no one diet that is suitable or perfect or just right for every single human being on the planet. We're all individuals, but yet these people in each individual group are basically stating, they're not even offering an option or an alternative, or they're saying, what I do is it. And I guess from my perspective, whenever something has been heavily saturated, available online, in mainstream, it's usually bullshit. Or not bullshit, sorry, that's the wrong word. It's usually got a percentage to it that is totally untrue, totally unhealthy for you, is running some narrative from somewhere, or allowing things to go on to confuse you, to disrupt you, to desensitize you. So if it's heavily available online, I will never ever take that on as a core truth, because it's just not true. If something was so good for you, so beneficial to the human race and all of us, and really made impactful lives to give us the betterment of everything and make everything work at optimum, or, to be awesome for human beings, it will never be online. Those are the things that get censored and shut down first. And obviously goes to followers and subscriptions, and I guess the amount of people as well. If there's millions of people following this person and they're doing this carnivore diet, then it is nowhere near what is the best possible thing for a human on earth. These are just facts. These are things that, you can test, you can spend time to, you can, find out for your very self. But the sheer fact that anything that is available to you, flooding your inboxes, flooding your mainstream, flooding everything that you see, will never be the ultimate, most amazing thing for a human being to better their health or better their outcomes or their energy or whatever. Everyone can't be right? But you can. So obviously the reason why I'm able to talk to you from a place where I know how our system works, how the body operates holistically, the system we're part of, how it works, and I can apply filters to see whether something's actually really good for you, is I've actually seen the results. Okay, I've made a diet alongside with other aligning things with the human being to get our state into an optimum where it heals incurable diseases naturally. Now, no one else on the planet has ever done that in the history of mankind on this planet ever before. So that fact alone means that I might have the actual diet that every single person out there, but then again, I designed it just for healing. I didn't design it for everyday life, and I've probably got other opinions and bits and pieces on that. And it's multidimensional too. It's very, not complicated, just complex. You know, human beings are complex, okay? We have epigenetics. We've been eating meat and getting our nutrients from certain places and certain animals for so long and hundreds of thousands of years, and it all works like this, and we don't understand how it works, yet we're all out there giving people what works for me to you, okay? I don't give what works for me to you. I offer, some solid stuff, but anyway, it's not about me. I'm just out there going, fuck, how confusing is this for people? They wouldn't know what the fuck to do with their Arthur or Martha. And then, all the carnivore people get on and go, oh, I've been doing carnivore and now I've stopped because of this and I've added this and I've taken that. That's great. Do what works for you. We each have an emotional guidance system. If something works, keep doing it. If something makes you feel good, do it. If it doesn't, stop it. Okay, and when I'm talking about those things, obviously, I'm not talking about negative things like addiction, over-processed, high sugars, all that sort of stuff. That's easy to work out how we got hooked on that, right? The high sugar made us fucking feel so good that we fucking just kept doing it. We got overweight, we got unhealthy. And then we tried to get off it. I'm talking about as natural as possible to a human being. They can't all be right. And that's just, one thing. You are being bombarded and overwhelmed with many things. Do you know what interruption marketing is? Is when you're just scrolling along and something pops up and they make you think, or use a fear tactic to make you think like you need something. It's how the news and everything has survived for years. You got to remember, it's not so long ago, before the year 2000, that there was, for us here in Australia anyway, there was only 5 major, TV stations, the 3, the international one and the government, ABC. And there was, a major newspaper in each capital city. And to get, to be a writer, a journalist for those, you had to be an accredited, you had to go to university, you had to go to school, and you were given the job on merit, not on you as a person. So these days there's 186 channels available to us. There's YouTube, Rumble, you name it, unlimited amount of people coming to you on screens with writing, with stories, with blogs, with all sorts of stuff. And back then we were very trusting. We trusted our local news source to give us the right information, and that trust has sort of been instilled in us. We know that after a certain age we're pretty much running on autopilot. We've sort of just given up a bit and tried to oscillate to a little bit of comfort. And so now you're just bombarded and you don't know what's true, what's right, what's not. And you don't even have that connection with yourself to be able to sit back and go, hang on a minute, what's actually right for me? How do I feel about this? How does this make me feel? Does that sit right with the, the story of a beautiful, divine, intelligently created human being that has a bias, and its highest expression is love? Do we sit with the facts? Do we sit with the core truth and then use filters against it to work out? No, because we've been to this school, we've been to this education system that's given us 13 years of repetition, useless information to make us compliant, obedient, and dependent on the system that created the education system. That then once money's involved, you know, I don't know if any of you have worked for big companies, but I've worked for some of the biggest in the world, and they're all chasing bigger dividends, bigger wins, bigger billion-dollar profits year in, year out. How can that be good for humanity? They can do token things, corporate social responsibility. They can look like they're giving back to you, but at the end of the day, they want to grow. And that includes all the people that supply everything, and including medications that go for cancer. So cancer is a very good business, grows every year, and is supporting all of those companies to be able to have those wins and give dividends back to major parts of the shareholders and all sorts of things like that. You're all caught up in this. It's not as simple as saying, oh, this is it, you're the baddie, you're doing that, and all the rest of it. We're just caught up in a big multi-dimensional mess where it's a whole bunch of piranhas are all taking a bite out of us for all different types of reasons, mainly for control and money. And it's a game, right? But we're trapped inside the game. And that's what all these, you know, so-called, you know, conspiracy theorists and everyone that you're ridiculing and you're going, fucking put your tin foil hat on. I still get it online. I had it the other day. I brought someone's attention to something, and I said, look, mate, don't take my word for it. Go and test it out. Go and think, I'm not saying what you're doing bad. I'm just saying you don't know what you don't know. And I got called a tinfoil conspiracy. I get rejected all the time with a core truth that people can test and see for themselves with their own very eyes, because that's all part of the whole indoctrination system. It's all part of it. And we're not taught to be critical thinkers, and we're not taught to see outside of this. And so we actually are rejecting things that can save our very life. You know, people reject things that can save their own life, and they feel so strongly about it. No one should feel, including me, that knows more than anyone else about the system we're part of and how it all works, or our human bodies and the holistic side of it. Through 34 years of studying us and not being gone to work and being part of the system that you're part of, I've been able to get to that. But I still say to myself every single day, hang on a minute, don't judge that person, don't say that, you don't know yourself. So even me at the highest point of awareness, of knowledge, of wisdom, of knowing, still will not accept anything at face value. We should never trust anything. We should question everything. And it's not about being cynical. It's not about thinking that everyone's out to get you and all that sort of stuff. You know, at the end of the day, I do it now, you know, and this has only been a new journey for me. Even where I'm at now is a very recent thing. But the reason why I personally don't believe anything, or I read the label on foods or do all this sort of stuff, is because I was taking a medication for 10 years, and it got me to a state where I was almost a dribbling vegetable, and my family were like, you were like a zombie. You're not like interacting part of this family. I'm like, guys, I'm trying to fucking survive each day. I'm trying to fucking get through each minute. I'm trying to get through each hour. I'm trying to fucking come down so I can relax at night every day for 10 years. And so I went to my long-term doctor that I had known at this stage for 7 + 4, 11 years. And I said, Doc, I've got to get off this medication. I've got to bloody, or what are my options? Anyway, he sort of did a bit of research, and the next appointment in April in 2018, I went in there and he said, Aaron, you have been taking this so long now. Pfizer, which is a name we all know in drugs, advises that you have to take this for the rest of your life now. And I got fucking so angry because no one had pointed out, no one had shown or pointed out those facts to me when I started taking it. That after a certain amount of time, it changes something or the chemical or something within your body, and you have to take that drug or this set of drugs for the rest of your life and be dependent on this drug company to produce this drug for the rest of your life that they already make $30 billion out of in this country alone every year. And so I got angry. Could you imagine that? Having someone say to you, you have to take this for the rest, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's going to lower your quality of life and make you fucking feel like shit. And so that's what started this whole journey for me, to step outside of that system. And then when you go to Google, you Google, I want to get off this drug, and there's 20 pages of people that say you can't do it, won't be done, don't, I've had bad experiences, this and the other. Then I went on some independent independent search engines, which they are demising. They're on the downfall because all the big ones are buying out the little ones to feed you a narrative of what they want. It's a game, right? If they can legally, with a loophole, do it, they'll fuck you. And so I found 4 pages actually, of people who had done it before and how they'd done it, and giving away this stuff for free because they knew that it was thingo. Now those people are gone. It was just there for me at that time in this period, because now these independent search engines have been taken over. They've been manipulated and changed to not get that information out there because they don't want people free to these multi-billion-dollar fucking juggernauts that are actually taking advantage of all us little people. And so I then went on a bit of a journey, and I did it. It's been 7.5 years. I have never been healthier. How does that work then? If this company that we're all trusting, or we're trusting these professionals, or these people that have our best health, our best interests at heart, it's all fucking bullshit. So it opens your eyes, right? And then you go a little bit crazy because you're like, what the fuck? How come everyone doesn't know this? This is fucking amazing. And then you come across people like you that are still in the system and indoctrinated, and you go, oh God, put your fucking tin foil hat on, bro. And it's like, guys, I've got the shit that could save your life, make your life 1,000 times better. And you are going to reject it because of what? Wow. And that's been a whole other journey for me. I was so naive and so innocent, whatever you call it, pure of heart, that I thought, shit, I need to help people. I need to get this to them because they're just like me, right? There's 300 million people on this drug all around the world, just like me. And I could help them, and I was like, I will never charge them. I could be the richest person in the world if I sold it to them. You know what I mean? I could buy out Elon 5 times over. But no, I'm going to do the right thing. And I went out there naively thinking that you're all going to be dancing in the street, fucking putting me on your shoulders and cheering and fucking thingo. But no, the first stop was, which I dealt with before, was mainstream media, 180 newsrooms, 7 years, thousands of press releases. Not one of them want to know it, want to test it, want to even entertain a thought, because they know that if they open this thing, it changes the world. And so you're still all part of it. It's been 7 frustrating years, and what happens is, normally, if you're not a numerologist or someone into physics or natural science or fucking all the shit that I've been into to all my life, you go crazy, right? You look crazy, you are crazy, you become that person with that really unattractive energy that no one wants to go near because you're flipping out all the time and you're not balanced. And we look for balance when we look for, inspiration. We always get inspired by, balanced people that just talk quietly like this. We don't get by people that are screaming, trying to fucking wake you up. That's what they're trying to wake you up to. Most conspiracy theorists are actually right, but the energy is off, and it's a, what do you call it, a catch-22. Most of the stuff they're saying is right, but whether they're saying it to the right people or how they're saying it to, it means it mainly gets rejected. A conspiracy theorist go to a party, blurts out their truth, gets it all out there, thinks that, it's their responsibility. They've been God-given this information of truth to be able to share it and wake humanity up. They get out there to the party, they blurt it all out, and they fucking leave the party, and not one person that they blurted out to the truth with ever contacts them again. In fact, they isolate themselves. And then they go, well, that's their problem, right? That's their problem for not wanting this, to being sleepy fucks, being da. And then so they can only really form associations with other conspiracy theorists. That's their friend network. That's their very small. Do you think that people that want to make a difference in the world want to go around in their small groups? No. That's what I do. I walk into, as a balanced person, I walk into rooms, I walk into towns, I walk into places and cities and states with people, and I walk with people that are not of like mind, that don't believe what I believe, don't know what I know, and I just be normal. And they say to me, wow, I overheard your story, or, oh, that's the thing. Do you reckon that'd work with this? And they come to me. They fly to me. They get on a plane and through word of mouth, through other people, they are magnetically inspired and attracted to come to me, because I'm not standing on my soapbox screaming and evangelizing and fucking trying to project all of the resentment, all of the frustrations, and all of the conspiracy theories that I've uncovered to people that don't like that energy. Aggression is the same, right? It doesn't matter whether someone is got something that's 100% right or going to save your life. If they're trying to tell you aggressively, that energy is repelling, or you stand back from it. You don't take it in. So it's and these people that are conspiracy theorists call themselves light workers. Okay, now we're called light workers, or because we're beings of light, we're walking the earth, and we have this spark, this intuition, which is our connection to source and everything, which is in us, is a spark, and it's a form of light. And so they think that they're light workers, that they're here as part of a thing to, and obviously unbalanced consciousness, residue in your Akashic record. That's where all this negative shit comes from. There's none of it is true. And so they're around trying to call themselves light workers when really they're just light spinners. Okay, they're not out there giving us or inspiring us or walking among not like-minded people to try and get coherence on certain subjects or to, win them over. Yes, we need to have robust conversations. Yes, we need to be respectful. We need to be kind. We need to be compassionate. I can prove that I can add compassion and kindness to some of the old problems on this planet and get new solutions that we've never had before by adding two things, compassion and kindness. I can go to someone who would, call me a tinfoil hat online, go to, and it happens every day for me, okay? I line up for a fucking potato cake. And, I get talking to someone, and, whether it's through synchronicity, or whatever, we get talking and da-da-da. Next thing, we're having conversations about things that are very, very different, and for both of us. And I listen, and I make sure that I'm not all one-sided. I'm very respectful. I allow everyone to have their own beliefs and do whatever they want. I'm not judgmental whatsoever and non-interfering at all. I think those things are what we all tend to do a little bit too much, but we know that we're not meant to do it, but we're doing it anyway. And then I'm having conversations with like-minded people. Now we might come to some coherence between us, and I might accept some things that they say to me, or learn about them and what they believe, and they vice versa would have a better understanding about some of the very rare topics that I study at that core truth level. And this happens on a daily basis for me. This happens all around Australia. I've just been traveling down the coast, and I will rock up to a town, where one horse town with the most amazing secluded beaches in the middle of nowhere, and go, right, I need to do some exercise and get out walking. And I will meet an 86-year-old lady sitting on a bench, walking her dog, quite healthy, who has just been through a cancer journey. And we'll start talking, and next thing, she's just met me, and within half an hour, probably an hour, the conversations got full, and she's like, oh, I can't leave this conversation here. Do you want to come back to my place for dinner? And I'm like, well, I'm a chef. I'll cook for you. Cool. What do you drink? I'll get a bottle of wine. I'm like, oh, I've just given up drinking. But you know what? It's what you do all the time, not what you do some of the time. So I'll have a glass of wine with you. And that's what it's about. It's not about going, oh, I don't drink, I think you should do this, and no. But we're just not nice enough to it. We're just not kind enough to each other. So now this lady, who a lot of older people, I think, and have very well documented, and also my podcast say that old people are the worst because they don't have that newness, and they're in autopilot, and they really don't anyway. So she's proven me wrong, and so she's taught me things and confirmed things that I already knew about when she went on her cancer journey, and what she did, and with the innate and everything. And I went, wow. So that, I can see how that worked for you. And then she's like, wow, you've confirmed that what I was doing was right. And we've got coherence on things, and I've learned some new things, she's learned some new things. And get up the next day, and I leave that town, I go to the next place. So that's something that we could all do better. It's like different races, and I've been very fortunate, I'll be honest. I grew up in a pub that had a drag queen pulling beers on a Friday night, with two black fellas, Ernie Dingo, Morton Black, who were, before they were actors and TV and stuff like that, were actually in a play across the road, and my dad let them live with us. So we didn't have any racism, sexism, ageism. It was an all-inclusive, and that's one thing I did. One of the best things that I ever did get from my family was, it's an all-inclusive. We're all human beings first, and everything else, we're all accepted equal. And so that went on from my life, and then, so I was very fortunate with that. So, we are just so divided, segregated, and the system does that to us, right? The more division, everything's a bit like a movie. I mean, at the moment, I got on here because you don't know what's right. You don't know what is right for you. You don't know what's true. You don't know what's not. It's a big minefield of, a mess out there. We don't know how to have, to connect with people. We don't know how to work out what's right for us. Using our emotional guidance system, that it feels right, it is. Usually. And then everything that we complain about, we line up for. You know what I mean? There's a cost of living crisis in most developed worlds, places and countries around the world at the moment, and all the things that got us there are a combination of many things, and all of those things we're supporting. So we're still complaining about the cost of living. There's homeless people, that's what I've just spent a year off, traveling all around the country, 5 different states internally, and also from on the coastline and bits and pieces, and tropical and cold places and towns with 63 residents and all the rest of it. And there's homeless people everywhere. I've lived with them. And they are lining up and spending what very little money they do have with all of those companies that have been some of the biggest contributors to the cost of living crisis that we have in Australia today. So not only we feed them, they've marketed to us with convenience and other things. I've started a smart biz movement thing, and I was helping small businesses while I was traveling around just to capture more growth in their business, having a big background in this corporate and growth and sales and all sorts of things with Coca-Cola and AEG and Spotless and all these big companies. And I was like, I was working with a small fruit and veg family outside a major supermarket, and I was like, so you can't afford to put any staff on. Your family has to run this business in this shopping centre. And that place just over there, which was not even 30 metres away, was selling $235,000 a week in fruit and vegetables. And people were going in there for convenience and getting all 3 things and walking straight past you, and your family struggling to put food on the table and pay the bills and can't employ extra people. But you still probably employ more people than that fruit and veg department over there that makes $235,000 a week. And so when you look at things like that, I mean, would all of those people line up in the supermarket for that convenience if they knew that was the case? If they knew this family that sells great quality fruit and veg, some things at a better price, some things they can't compete with, but definitely always the produce. A lot of it, the majority of the produce probably comes from the same markets, the same places, while the quality of fruit and veg isn't great at the moment across the whole country or across the whole world. We still line up for it. We know that high sugar and processed foods are not good for us, and we know that it's not about things we do all the time, it's the things we do some of the times. And that's why we can have different events and we go, oh yeah, the food of this event is fucking junk food, but yeah, it's once a year and we go there and that's our treat and things like that. But most of us are living off that junk food on a daily basis. I've just travelled from one side of Australia to the other, and every town has the 3 major fast food companies, and they're the beacons, they're the ones making all the money. Small business is on the decline, and so we're eroding our what I call human interface. We're willingly destroying ourselves and becoming more robotic, more desensitized, and more it's just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And somewhere, if we don't stop and assess where we're at and what we're doing and make different choices, that's what I'm doing now. So I've done that world. I've even at the start of the year I was going to Macca's too, but You know, we have to stop lining up for it. Otherwise, it's just going to keep happening. I have been to McDonald's since I made this conscious decision to walk the walk. 4 months. I've been there 3 times, I think. A couple of times to get chips and once to get a coffee where I couldn't get coffee or make my own coffee. I have stopped going to Woolworths supermarket. I use Aldi for certain things because they've actually got some Australian produce, olive oil, Kalamata olives that are the best price and the best quality product that I've seen. So I've got a set of things I get from there. I support Australian small businesses in each town I go to. First thing I do is Google, who's got a little mum and pa deli, fruit and veg place, small business. I still go to Coles for because of the average prices, and also the customer service is way better than Woolworths, and the attitude is a lot better. I still go there for things, that I can't get in other places. Like, do you know what I mean? There's not much option if you want to live outside the system we've got. If the system we've got is really bad for us, right? And it's eroding our human interface. But if there's no outside of that system, there's not many choices. There's fucking hardly any, actually. You can't live fully outside of it, fully off grid and all the rest of it. And we've got used to a whole lot of stuff. So it's really hard. But if we don't all start and make conscious decisions to slowly pull back from that and stop feeding them, we're going to get worse and worse and worse. Our health's going to get worse. You have no idea the lengths I understand the human body, the health, the DNA efficacy, the amount our immune systems are shot, the foodus and why, our dysfunctional health state is what we call normal. Because I only know that because I went outside of that, got to an optimum state, and my body healed itself of an incurable disease. Otherwise, I wouldn't know this, right? So it's not like the stuff that I'm saying to you, you're expected to know, but it is something that is getting worse every year. And if we don't bring some attention and awareness to it, more people are going to suffer. More people are going to be sick. More people, that's just the fact. It's not scaremongering. It's not. I think I only deal with facts. So, I feel for you out there, just not knowing what is wrong or right. And the other thing is change, where change can be traumatic for people. The only place we get growth is through change, and the only thing that we are scared of is change. So everything could be a little bit topsy-turvy. It might seem that we live in a bit of a topsy-turvy world when you start awakening to it. But once you awaken to one thing and start thinking about small families and businesses, and start thinking about what's best, if you're in that position, what's best for you, not just your health, the economy, everything will get better for you as well, because you'll have control. At the moment, you don't have any control over anything, and it's designed that way. And I'm not saying that, to put you down or anything like that. I'm trying to help, right? And I'm trying to do it and spend all my life and all my time helping for free. So, there's got to be a question in that, right? Why does this guy spend 30 years going off grid, doing all this stuff, doing all these experiments, and sharing everything, giving it away, designing protocols, and giving it all away for free? No one's given anything away for free, ever, right? Or if it is, it's a scam. They want your email, they want this, they want marketing, da 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 da. I'm just, no gatekeeping, no thing. I'm giving it away for free. That question alone should spark something within you to say, hang on a minute, who the fuck does that? Who the fuck spends every day getting up, giving us all this shit for nothing, and spends all their own money doing it? No one. Why would someone do that? Am I fucking crazy? Well, I've thought about it. Right? Well, you know what I mean? How would you feel if you got up every day and went to try and help a group of people that just didn't have the full knowledge or wisdom or understanding or evidence-based stuff that you had seen, and you don't force it down their throats, you just put it there and make it available, and should they, need it or come across it or whatever, they might look a bit further if they're interested or at that time of life. How would you like getting up every day, give, and you get zippo back? Nothing. And I'm not saying that, there's a lot of beautiful people that have listened to every word I've said, have done everything and had their own miracles and gone on their own journey in bits and pieces. But I'm saying the collective, the majority, like what you've been marketed to, is a general populace, not the very rare people that have gone, wow. And then those people then have gone out and tried to spread the love and gone, oh shit, no one wants to know, mate. They all want to kill themselves. They all want to make life harder. They all want to contribute to the very thing that could save them, that they're all complaining about every day, and that's where we're at. So anyway, this was a quick one. I feel for you. Just keep your eyes open. Have a good one wherever you are in this beautiful world that we live on. It is beautiful when you but thanks for listening.